So Jack Poso, amazing that the attack on Christ as King comes right as the Easter season begins. Not really hiding it, are they? You see that, everyone? The Jews, it's when he says they. When he says not really hiding it, are they? Who's he talking about? It's the Jews. The Jews are using the Christ as King issue to disrupt Easter. You see? Yeah. The Jews really like upsetting a bunch of Christians and getting Christians to flip out on Jews right before Easter. Seth Dillon says the attack is not on the phrase or the truth of the phrase, but on the abuse of the... Seth has a way of words here. The attack is not on the phrase or the truth of the phrase, but on the abuse of the phrase by bad actors. And by bad actors, I mean you, Mr. Soho, or whatever his name is. Do you not find abuse of the Lord's name objectionable? And this guy shared his own statement, Seth Dillon. No, there's nothing wrong with the phrase Christ is King. I proclaim it with humility and reverence. There is something seriously wrong, however, with the way some have been abusing it. And he posts his own thing here. The argument is not that Christ isn't king or that we shouldn't say Christ is king. It's that not everyone is saying Christ is king in good faith. There's plenty of evidence of that. Yeah. And there are good reasons for Christians to find it objectionable. When a non-Christian gets angry and curses by exclaiming, Jesus Christ, they've taken the Lord's name in vain. Christians find that objectionable, and they find it objectionable because God himself prohibits it and says it offends him. Your argument is like saying, I don't care if people take the Lord's name in vain and say Jesus Christ as a curse. At least his name is being said, no matter who says it or what they mean by it. If someone says Christ is king with the wrong heart and intent to attack or provoke a Jewish person, for example, they are coupling abuse of the Lord's name with disrespect for another person made in his image. I don't see why any Christians wouldn't find that objectionable. Appreciate you engaging the critics. We need more of this dialogue. And then Jack Poso says, I'm not playing this game. Wait, what? I'm not playing this game. It's like, what? He actually offered a careful, thoughtful defense of his own
position. So you don't want actual real discussions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, notice when Seth actually said, hey, this is good. Let's have this discussion. Let me explain my perspective. And Jack Poso, I'm not playing this game. I'm not playing. Trying to attack Jews and you're ruining it. Seth Dillon says, Jesus' name is not a weapon to wield in hate. That's the game we're refusing to play. Yeah, man, try that on somebody else. He sounds like an idiot.
And then
Seth says, what game is this? Because you've got Jack Poso here saying, Jack Poser saying, I'm not playing these stupid games. You're trying to get me into a silly game. And then Seth burns him up with his own words. So from not long ago, 10 hours before this, Jack Poso says, since you're answering questions, and he's responding, as AP pointed out, he's responding to Johnny Moore, Reverend Johnny Moore, who was part of the research team that did the study that just came out on this issue. Jack Poso says, since you're answering questions, I have another one. Is Christ king? And Reverend Johnny Moore responds, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
How much better can it get?
Will you even say Christ is king? Yeah, what is Jack Poso doing? He's playing a game. He's saying, you have to say this thing that the Groypers say, and you have to say it exactly like the Groypers. You can't choose other words that say something more profound. You have to use the political phrase that we're using to cause division.
This is a perfect demonstration, as said, to these people. It is not about whether you believe in Jesus. It is not about whether you believe Jesus is Lord and Jesus is King. To them, it is simply about a phrase for political purposes. And the bad thing about this is that they are actually pretending to respect Christ here, but they are simply using his name for political signaling and for virtue signaling and for hate. They're basically just disrespectfully abusing and misusing the name of Christ because they don't love Christ. They just want to use him for themselves.
And you can even see it in that. It becomes a tool, right? This issue becomes a tool. How can I gain control over someone? Or if they refuse to be controlled, how can I use it to attack them? And you're using what for that purpose? Your claim that Christ is king. That's what you're using that for. So are you, when you say that, are you proclaiming Christ is king? No, If your concern was whether people acknowledge Christ as king, then him saying Christ is king and King of kings and Lord of lords would have been fine for you. Said, oh, okay, he actually does acknowledge, and he confesses and says it publicly that Jesus is King of kings and Lord of lords. But no, you have to say this phrase. You have to say this phrase. Why? Because if you say it, then we know we can get you to say things that we're telling you to say. And if you don't say it, we say, you see, he doesn't believe in Christ. He doesn't believe Christ is king. When he literally just said, Jesus is King of kings and Lord of lords. That's what we're dealing with the gripers. And what's amazing is you still have tons of people, what? Oh my goodness, these guys are right. People are telling us we can't say Christ is king.